ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea, the official specialty coffee of Disney Parks. You can find Joffrey's Coffee and specialty drinks in the parks, at Disney Springs, or online at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is the DVC Roundtable for November 2019.
I forgot.
No.
Crowd goes, yeah, this is
talking for half an
something.
I know, we've been talking for a while.
Pause for dramatic silence.
That's what I do. I tend to pause, so you wonder what I'm going to say next. Anyway, DVC Roundtable. Join us on the show, Rebecca Toone.
Way to keep the magic alive, Tim.
I do what I can. I'm only one man. And I'm no
Hi,
Walt
everybody.
Disney. I'm no Walt Disney. Exactly. Also, Mr. Brad Coates.
Dramatic pause.
Ooh, kind of a creepy pause, but okay.
Pause for applause.
Yeah, that's not coming. Jeers are different than cheers. I just want you to know it's different.
And also, Mr. Joe Quattrochi on the show. Hey, Joe.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Whoa.
Watch out, Joe is
What
Joe's
happened?
in a rough mood tonight.
He's in a cranky mood, guys.
He's going to mess up our family rating.
Joe,
How was that cranky?
That's right. Joe's feeling a little zesty.
I don't know.
Well, first I was trying to poke fun at Rebecca. Hey, howdy, hey. I don't know if you got that or not, Rebecca, but...
Why do you think I said you were throwing shade?
I just want to make sure.
I appreciated that.
Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. It's good to talk to you.
Oh, my God. Anyway.
Show is off the rails and it hasn't even started.
Already. Haven't even started.
Hey, we're going to talk about the biggest news for the past month involving the Disney Vacation Club. Brad, I think you're going to get us started with some major news. Very exciting.
Big news.
Yes, I put my hand up in class to do this one as soon as I saw it. Walt Disney Company has finally filed plans to build a 12-story Disney Vacation Club tower at the, drumroll please,
Here it comes.
Disneyland Hotel in Anaheim.
Woo!
So finally getting a second DVC resort. Kind of sad that I'm so glad that Joe has been to Disneyland one time and now he's an expert and he
Twice.
doesn't like it.
Twice, Brad.
Wow.
I'm sorry, twice. Yeah, been to Disney World how many times? And it's so stupid. Why do you go to Disney World?
Three times. I've been to Disney World 3 times, Brad.
Last week.
And apparently the third time was not the charm.
Yeah. So for all of you people out there that have all those reasons you don't like, that you love Disneyland over Disney World, yeah, Joe's got a counterpoint for all of them because
I'm just
he does
teasing,
not like it.
Brad. I'm just teasing.
Tweet Joe Quattrochi directly.
No, anyway, we're throwing more shade. Nah, we love you, Joe. But I'm excited about this. They are opening up a tower, 12-story tower. It's going to have 350 rooms. That's kind of sad because, it would have been nice if they had taken that whole resort that they were going to put in, the fancy one, and taken all that land that they had, they'd run out businesses and everything and had a footprint there where they could build something much bigger. But hey, I'll take 350 rooms. So it's going to be now. If any of you have been to now, Joe, have you ever stayed at Disneyland Hotel?
No, I've
Rebecca?
always. It's super expensive, man.
Yeah, it is very expensive.
California
I
prices.
have not stayed on Disneyland property.
So I've stayed there and I've used my DVC points several times. So it's not a great value for your DVC points, but unfortunately you can't get the DVC rooms there because there's too few. So, but anyway, Disneyland Hotel right now has 3 towers. Okay. And what they're basically doing is taking the fourth side of that square of towers that face each other. They're taking the fourth side, putting up another tower. If that helps you to see, kind of get a picture of what they're doing. It's going to be behind what is now Goofy's Kitchen, and that's where Steakhouse 55 and everything is. Well, they're putting the building up on that side, so now it'll be 4 towers looking in towards the pool, I'm guessing, by the way they're describing it. So only the second property at Disneyland Resort, and it will go fast, and I'm scared to death to know how much the points are going to be, but I will be raising my hand for that one, I'm pretty sure, as soon as it comes available. So there's no news from what I can tell as far as when they might, break ground or when they're looking to open. I don't think they've gotten that far. The news story did say that this new proposal should proceed smoother than the earlier attempt, as Disney has not asked for any tax breaks on this project, and that's true. That was the whole issue that they had with putting up the boutique or the fancy hotel.
Oh, you mean it wasn't Joe that canceled it?
No.
I called up the city of Anaheim. I was like, hey,
called him
enough.
Now listen.
Down.
Yeah.
Hey, Brad, I will say this, just to interrupt you, because I'm good at that.
I wouldn't take a breath, so go ahead.
The fact that you said that, I did read that the theming is going to match the Disneyland Hotel. So you said that was going to be like in that general area. At least this new building is going to match and fit in with all the theming around there, which I think is kind of good. It's not going to be like this random thing sticking out that doesn't really fit into the area. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
a good point. It's going to be like Grand Californian's DVC, because you don't even know, which wing is DVC unless you're told. I mean, it operates just like the rest of Grand Californian, so it's going to be a lot like that, I'm sure, which makes it nice. It does blend in,
and this makes it only the second DVC property in Disneyland. Is that correct?
Correct. And the one at Grand Californian literally only has, I don't remember what it was. I shared that one time a while back. I think it's 130 rooms, and that's if they split up the lock-offs.
So this more than doubles this 300, which is still small. This is still a small room capacity. Will more than double or triple what they currently have.
Exactly. But I don't know that there's going to be as much a demand in the long run, because just what we were talking about earlier, Joe, Joe made a good point. Disneyland is just not the kind of resort where you can go and spend a week, 10 days.
Do you think it's also because it's locals more than that?
Yeah, and that's part of it too. There's a lot more locals there, but when people go to Disneyland, even if they're not locals, they're making that one-time trip to go check it out. They're usually there, 3 days, and then they're out. So,
but my guess is that they don't have trouble filling those 130 rooms that they currently have.
No.
Yeah.
If you call within the first, 60 seconds of the 11th month window, you might get a shot.
Wow.
Yeah, there's when I first started, I stayed there twice early on. At the 7-month window, I found a couple rooms. I have not found one since. So.
Do you, just generally speaking, what are they comparable to point wise for a Disney World DVC?
They're kind of that. They're the middle. They're not as inexpensive as like Animal Kingdom. They're a little bit more than that, but they're not real high. They're not real high.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
For the studios, they're not bad. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Brad, I'm still surprised that they didn't take, like, for example, a section of floors at like Paradise Pier and make them kind of what they did at like Wilderness Lodge. Make them like,
yeah.
I mean, the rates are very expensive. I mean, listen, they're expensive in Walt Disney World too. I mean, you're paying $500, $600, $700, $800+ a night for a room. But at the lower end is Paradise Pier, but you're still paying like what, $300+?
Oh yeah,
I mean, so
and that's the cheapest one.
Yeah, it's got to make more sense for them to keep those rooms cashed than turn them into DVC. But I'm always surprised that like it took them this long to add on when Grand California was so popular. And it's so small too, but you know what I'm saying, to actually expand. I guess it's also they're out of like real estate too. It's hard to find room to really expand, but
yeah, it's tricky. And I had shared with you guys earlier, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this story, I actually bought my first contract on a Disneyland trip, and one of the caveats that the guy had shared was that we're getting ready to do this Grand Californian. It's just a small one, but we're fairly confident we'll have more DVC presence here in the years to come. Well, that was in 2006, so I've been waiting for something to come. So,
it was a prediction. It's just really far out there.
cycle with taking my kids to trips and stuff. They're both in college, and so. But anyway.
And just to give you guys a size difference, I looked up the resort inventory. The highest resort, I believe, is Saratoga Springs with 1,320 units.
Mm-hmm.
So compare that. Yeah, it's
to 350.
It says books a maximum of 1,320 rooms per day. I think the next one is Old Key West is 761, and it goes all the way on. But I mean, figure that. I mean, the highest. I mean, it's Saratoga's got 1,000 more rooms. Now, I'm not saying. I mean, that's a general number. I'm sure between one bedrooms and studios, but just a general number according to a DVC website. Yeah. Almost 1,000 more rooms.
I thought you were going to say that Disney World is 1,000 times better.
Oh no! You know what happened was, just for everybody who wasn't listening, we were just discussing a few of the restaurants, and I didn't have the greatest experiences at some of the nicer restaurants in Disneyland. So
the iconic restaurants.
He had some strong opinions.
I paid a lot of money for a bad experience, and I'm still thinking about it. So. I'm a little salty about that, but anyway. I'll give it another chance, Brad.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do it sometime when I'm out there, and I'll make sure you.
Yeah, you'll tell me what to order. Maybe I ordered the wrong thing. I don't know.
I'll get you into Club 33, and then you can fuss about that one.
There you go.
Nobody's better at fussing me, all right? So.
Yeah.
One bad experience, all of a sudden I'm a fusser now. So.
Hey, I just looked up.
Bob's place is being
I just looked up the villas at Disney's Grand California Hotel and Spa for the numbers, and I definitely overshot it. There's a total of 48 rooms, and they max out to 71.
Oh wow!
If you split the 1 and 2 bedrooms.
I don't have that many rooms in my house.
71. Yeah. So That's why I say they built one, but they really never built a resort. It's so small that's
super exclusive.
Only the people that own points get a shot at it, really. So.
Yeah, definitely.
I will say Disney's Geraldo Rivera Resort will have 300 rooms. So there's that.
All right, well, we're going to move on now.
Yes, please.
It's getting late, isn't it?
If, like Joe, you don't want to buy points at the Disneyland Resort, now through December 16th, the DVC is discounting the cost of points by as much as 10% at not the Geraldo Riviera Resort, but at Disney's Riviera Resort, and more than 20% at Aulani in Hawaii.
I'll be in Geraldo Wing.
Yeah, like the Geraldo.
Aulani is awesome, all right? Just want to put down for the record.
Yes, it is.
Wait, I just have to tell you this. I feel like the Geraldo Wing would have like really tall shag carpeting to match his mustache.
Big picture of him and his mustache as he's walking the lot.
Yeah, big old thick caterpillar on his face.
Yeah.
An animatronic.
Okay. Done now. It would appear that DVC may have hit a slump in the sales of points at Riviera Resort. As a result, buyers can currently benefit from some of the best rates we've seen in this location. The combined value of 2 developer credits, quote unquote, represents savings which can exceed 10% off the base rate of $188 per point. Varying discounts also apply at higher purchase levels. You could save 14% on the purchase of 1,000 Riviera points.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, the buyer, of course, must spend $162,000 in order to get the savings of $26,000. But if you buy some of those gift cards, you should be fine.
There you go.
Another 7%. Woohoo!
Yeah. Incentives to buy at Aulani, Disney's Vacation Club villas, continue to grow larger as Disney struggles to move points in the 10-year-old resort. Wow, I had no idea Aulani was 10 years old. At the 300-point level, new buyers will save more than 20% on their purchase, while the add-on cost to existing members is more than 22% off. After the expiration date of December 16, 2019, the member credits mentioned are scheduled to decrease by approximately 20 to 25%, resulting in higher net prices through January 28th of 2020. These dates and offers can change at any time. Always check with Disney Vacation Club for the most recent information. This is one of those times where in the past, I think I would have pointed out that you can buy at any resort and stay at any resort, but I think that's becoming much trickier than it used to be. Right, guys?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so buying at Aulani and maybe wanting to stay at Boardwalk or beach club or somewhere like that might not work out to your advantage as much as it used to.
Go ahead.
It's definitely, and Brad, I don't know if you're experiencing this, but it's definitely getting harder and harder on certain times of the year to get something else besides your home resort.
Yes.
I know Brad and I both own at Saratoga, and obviously we both don't mind staying there. We like to mix it up every once in a while, and I know my last couple of wait lists have not come through. So, and I'm going off times. I'm going in September and January, and so. We've preached on this show for years. Buy where you want to stay. I've always said this. If I end up at Saratoga every time, I'm happy. I'm on property. I know what I'm going to get. They're redoing the rooms right now. So within a couple of years, the hard refurb's going to be complete. But it's definitely not something we have ever said. Like, listen, you could buy anywhere and stay anywhere. It's really not so much the case anymore. No. And I just find it funny that Riviera is not even open, and it's like they're already slumping. It's like,
right? Yeah. Like, how do you even know?
and honestly, I'll tell you guys a story. The Skyliner's not helping, because I flew from last weekend. I flew from Reagan National to Orlando, and I'm sitting at the gate, and there's 4 adults there, and no kids. There are 4 adults going down there. And they're talking about the Skyliner incident that happened. And they're like, nope, I'm not getting on that. 3 hours, nope. No. And people still remember that thing that happened a few months back when it opened. Mm-hmm. I think that's a big deal. I think it's still in people's minds, between the contracts not being able for resale and the Skyliner not really being a point of sale anymore, where it's got that black eye right now. It's funny, as many problems as the monorail has had, people love the monorail.
Yes.
The Skyliner doesn't have that. It doesn't. It's not there. And I wrote it once.
There's definitely not the sentimental attachment.
Yeah, it's not. And I wrote it once.
There won't be.
And you're right, Brad. And I wrote it once before the long delay happened. And I thought it was, this is awesome. But now I'm kind of like, and thank God nothing's happened since then. But I don't think that's helping their cause with the resale. I mean, with the sale of it. It's really not. I don't know. It's just not helping. You never see this where it's like, we're discounting rates. The place isn't even open yet. But. It'd be interesting to see how it goes.
I was going to go back to what you'd mentioned about, and I could completely agree. Every year it's getting trickier and trickier to get things at the 7-month window. The only places that seem to be able to get it are the larger resorts. So usually I can get something in Animal Kingdom. I can't get the value rooms because they're gone right away. I have a wait list. Right, I got one night in a 1-bedroom concierge, club level at Animal Kingdom.
That's pretty good. You got that, man.
I got one. That was it. I mean, literally, exactly. So I got it the last night of my stay, and I've waitlisted the rest of it, and of course it hasn't come through. But I will say, I don't know if you've noticed this, Joe, but here's the tricky part. I'm like you. I always thought, listen, buy where you want to stay. And I can tell you, I want to stay at Aulani more and more and more, especially with my kids now gone and with me and my wife traveling, going to Hawaii more often. Man, that could be on my list, fast. I love Aulani, and I love that experience. But here's the thing. I've never had a problem, even when I've been looking at times when I go, to find availability at the 7-month window at Aulani.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, unless you're going like during Christmas or
unless
New Year's,
you're doing a holiday, exactly. So it's like, well, I could buy points there, but then again, so far, I'm not probably ever going to go out for the holidays because that's usually busy time for us, so back home. So that won't be a time when we'll go to get away. So I'm not. Part of me wants to buy points now that they're cheaper. And the other part of me is like, yeah, I'm good.
Well, and this will segue into Joe's article, too. The other thing to pay attention to are what your dues are. Yeah. And I think Joe will tell us in this next story, Aulani is actually in the top 5 resorts of dues that are going up the highest.
Ooh.
So, if that matters, as you're looking at the long-term viability of your contract.
And it usually is one of the highest every year. And I don't know if that's just because of how much it costs to keep it going, but its increases are usually pretty good. Not this high.
It looks pretty high this year. So maybe over to you, Joe.
Take it, Joe.
Yeah, over to Joe.
So story number 3 tonight, our friends over at DVCnews.com, the 2020 Disney Vacation Club annual dues are a mixture of good and bad news. The good news is owners of 3 specific resorts will see increases of less than 1%, which is fantastic. And I guess what the average is they say 3 to 5%, Brad, or 3 to 4% is like the average they tell you to bank on, right?
Yeah. And I think that's pretty much since, because I've owned the one contract for 12 years. So, and it's been pretty accurate. There's been 2 to, I think 4 something was the highest I ever had to do.
Okay.
But yeah.
So on the higher end, the bad news is owners of 7 properties will pay rates of more than 5% higher than what they paid last year in 2019. Disney Vacation Club owners pay annual dues in association with their timeshare ownerships. Dues covering the operating costs of the resort, which includes essentially employees, park transportation, housekeeping, the utilities to pay the bills, as well as property taxes to the county and state, and some allocation for long-term repairs and upgrades. So, for example, as a Saratoga Springs owner, and so is Brad, our dues went from $6.40 a point to $6.76 a point, which is a 5.64% upgrade increase, which, it doesn't sound a lot when you say only $6.40 to $6.76, but when you own 250 points over it, kind of adds up a little bit. But you got to remember that at Saratoga Springs, they're in the middle of a hard refurb. So they're draining those reserves for the construction for essentially the makeover of the room. So that's kind of to be expected. Some of the other resorts on the higher end were Alani at almost 6% increase, Boulder Ridge at 6.27, and the highest one.
Boulder Ridge so high? Isn't it still relatively new?
No, Boulder
Ridge is the original one. That's the original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
my bad.
Fifth, built in 2000.
But the highest one. Now, this is crazy. For everybody at home, I'll give you a minute to guess. What do you think is the highest? Okay. You like it?
I heard him.
That's how you do a pause.
That's how you do a pause. Disney's Old Key West Resort at 8.4% increase. I don't know where that came from.
Whoa,
I know they
Nelly.
just finished a rehab, so maybe they're trying to recuperate some of those reserves.
Under budget? And they're trying to
8.4%. That's a lot.
They're building their own monorail with Old Key West.
And so some of the other ones on the lower side, on the positive note, Beach Club is at 1.76%, Copper Creek at 0.29%, and Polynesian at 0.42%, and Riviera actually dropped 0.02 of a percentage. So
the Geraldo effect.
just want people to buy it.
$8.31 to $8.30. So that'll boost sales right there.
Everything must go.
DVCnews.com has the list for the other ones I did not mention. The article continues to go on saying that, as was the case in 2019, most operating expense categories are seeing an increase in costs in 2020. These increases are likely driven by higher employee wages, including recent union contracts. In 2018, members of the Services Trade Council Union approved an agreement that would gradually raise the $10 minimum wage hourly wage to $13 an hour by September 2019, $14 by 2020, and the $15 an hour minimum wage by 2021. So that money is to come from somewhere to pay the employees. So it's coming from dues. Property taxes, which have been subject to dramatic inflation in recent years, have leveled off, which is good for the Walt Disney World properties. And just going on here, budgets will be formally ratified by the Condo Board at the 2019 annual meeting, which we talked about in the last roundtable, which will take place December 12th, 2019. I believe it's at Disney's Contemporary Resort, DVCnews.com, which we got this article from. They will be on hand reporting live from the Condo Association meeting. So they do a great job over there. We get a lot of our info from them. So if you can't make the meeting at Disney's Contemporary Resort, I know it's one of Rebecca's favorites. Check out DVC.
When you let me in, it is.
Yeah. Keep our fraff out, But this is the time of year. A lot of our dues are coming up in January.
Is that an across the board thing? Does everybody pay in January? Or is it dependent upon when you buy it?
I think so, Brad. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. The good thing is that they let you pay by credit card. They let you split up credit card payments. So I know you have to call up for that. But
Wait, can you pay with Disney gift cards?
I've never done that. Can you do that, Brad?
Because if you can,
I'm sure you can.
If you can, now is a great time to mention that BJ's Wholesale has their Disney gift cards on sale. So you can buy a $500 gift card at BJ's for $470.
Yeah, so it's
you're saving $30.
I've never tried it. I've never heard of anybody trying it, but I don't know why you couldn't. But
I don't know why you couldn't. I mean,
that's like you. But
I mean, I'm not paying in pennies, and really 8.4% at Old Key West.
That's crazy. It's got to be. It's got to be because of the. It's got to be because they got to replenish the reserves. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I mean,
I actually had a. It wasn't. I don't think it was at Resort Loop, on Facebook, on our Facebook page. I think it was one of the other Facebook pages I follow that's DVC. But somewhere somebody was asking me, why is Boulder Ridge so much higher than Copper Creek? Mm-hmm. And they're right there, and blah blah blah. And they did the same thing, like you were saying. Was it you, Rebecca, saying it's like brand new, and it's really not. Well, when I went to research it and to answer their question, I realized something. So give me a second here. Just kind of follow along here. So here's some of the ones that got hit. Old Key West, 8.4%. Vero Beach, 6.85%. Hilton Head Island, 6.28%. Boulder Ridge, 6.27%. And then raised, and then Saratoga, 5.64. Okay, now there's two other resorts in the list. That is Boardwalk Villas and Beach Club, which they didn't go up very high. But the reason I mentioned those is that I just gave you the oldest resorts there, starting with Old Key West. I read them in their order. The only two that didn't get a rate hike of over 5.5% was Boardwalk Villas, where they said there was wasn't that the one they said there was a tax thing, it dropped, and so it was a lot cheaper. And then Beach Club Villas, they had a complete change in their structure on how they pay for the maintenance and all that, and so it dropped. They said there was a real reason why theirs was low. So if you'll notice, and basically take those two out, all of the outside of Aulani, which is always a weird one, all of the high rates were older resorts. Mm-hmm. So this idea that, well, this is because, they're paying more for employees and they got to well, they all got every resort had somebody that got a pay raise. So I'm hoping that as this continues on, we're not going to see this as a regular thing, because like you said, Joe, you want to look at it and think, well, it's because of a refurb, but it's also interesting to note that it's literally every one of the older resorts. So is the maintenance becoming...
Things break,
exactly.
The toilets break, pipes go bad. I mean, electrical stuff has to be replaced. AC units, they're running. They refurb
them, but that doesn't take care of everything. So I'm just hoping that in the years to come, we're not going to see this becoming more and more of a thing where the older resorts, it's just getting exorbitantly higher and higher and higher and higher. But I guess it's a possibility.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just saying, our financial queen, who's not on tonight, Emily Hansa Hicks, she would tell us that the majority of your payments over the lifespan of your contract is to dues and not to the contract itself.
That's why
you are welcome, Emily. We are paying attention.
That's right.
Okay, so one's a comment, one's a question. The comment first is, I did go to the DVC website. And for those of you wondering, you can pay your annual dues with a Disney gift card. So there you go. Save $30 for every $500 of dues you owe. And if you don't have a BJ's membership, you can actually just buy an online membership for $10 a year. You can order the gift cards online. So quite a savings there. The other question is, as owners, looking at the dues that you guys pay and staying in the resorts, do you feel like you're getting a fair return on those dues? Like, do you feel like the resort upkeep and maintenance is equal to sort of the raise and that you see in the dues?
I mean, I don't know, Brad, how you feel, but I mean, I almost look at the dues as like, for example, like I pay my dues are like $1,100 a year. They're going to go up a little bit because they went up 5 point.
Is that for all your contracts?
Yeah, it's for both my contracts. So I look at it as like I paid that initial upfront fee to be in a quote unquote club, and then like every year, like my room costs $1,100 a year.
Exactly.
And for the amount of nights that I'm getting for $1,100 is sick. I mean,
still,
and granted, like the rooms are not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like the rooms have flaws in them. They're worn. They're booked most of the times. But you know what, though? Like, I've never had a problem where, like, my air conditioner's been broke. There had a problem where, like, the fridge didn't work. And if they did break, I mean, I remember last time me and Jen had our trip in September, we were sitting outside waiting for Uber. We were going to another resort for dinner. And we saw, like, one of the Disney maintenance vans bring a fridge in. I mean, they were replacing a whole fridge in, like, a one-bedroom. So, like, I mean, things like that, like, things have to be replaced, and you might not see it, but they're putting a brand new fridge into an older unit because it went bad. I feel that, like, and there's a lot of people working at those resorts. Saratoga Springs alone is huge. Just think about everybody, all the housekeepers and the people in the laundry and the front desk and the restaurants. It's endless. I always think it's not bad. It's not like we're paying $5,000 a year. That's a different story. But
so you never look at the days that you get and the $1,100 you spend and go, yeah, this was totally not worth it.
Oh, no, I've never.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now, I will say, because your point was, well, are they, as the rates are going up, is the resort getting better? No, it's not getting better. They're getting older. And as they get older, they do work on them, they fix them, and they keep them going. But, like Joe said, you still see the wear and tear. But the real test is in, the proof is in the pudding, as the old saying says. In the end, when you look at the numbers of what I pay for my dues for the year, and then the number of nights I stay in that resort, which would have, if I'd have paid cash for that same room, oh yeah, it's not even remotely in the same ballpark. So if you've gotten to the point where you've paid off your initial investment, and you're really just looking at, because I'm that way, Joe, I look at it. That's the way.
I'm the same way, Brad. Yeah, I'm just paying dues every year, so it's
So the dues is what I'm paying for a hotel. And I'm stealing them.
And I guarantee, Brad, that if you were to go back and add up like where you stayed, like for example, like I know I've stayed at Alani, I've stayed at Hilton Head, I've stayed, Contemporary, Poly, like all these places. I guarantee you that what I would have paid rack rate for a regular room at all those places would have exceeded what my contract cost plus what I paid in dues. I already feel I'm ahead of the game. I really do. I already feel like I'm ahead of the game. And I've only been a member since 2014, 2015. And I feel like within 4 or 5 years, I've stayed so much that I'm ahead of the game already.
Yeah, is there ever a time where they age out a DVC resort because of its, like,
they haven't yet.
Well, it's Old Key West is still.
That's why I'm looking at this 8% increase at Old Key West. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, that's to say. So it's and it was built in opening date was 1991. So
and that place has got a loyal following, man. So
it does.
I'm curious to see how many. What they got 24, 23 years left in those first contracts, right?
But didn't they do that add-on?
They did it once, but I'd be curious to see if they would try to do it again. Because do you think Disney's going to want to think about this, Brad? So as an owner, right? Are you like if Disney?
You're quietly excluding me, Joe.
Well, you were so close to buying the points the one time, but until you get the contract, right?
All right, fine.
I really wish you would have bought that contract at one time. Didn't you get right of first refusal? Didn't you lose it?
Yes, I lost.
Oh, sorry. I feel really bad about that.
If I lose it, if I buy though, you give me a hard time anymore.
I'm trying. I want you to be a member. But anyway, but think about it, right, Brad? Like if Disney offered you like a Rebecca too, if you had your contract,
if you had your points,
that's right. Your points. Instead of like Disney trying to they're having a hard time selling stuff now that's brand new. Don't you think they're going to offer current members like, listen, you want to continue your contract? Here's a rate, and you can continue for another 20 years, whatever it is.
When they get to the 50-year?
Yes, when they get to it. Do you think they're going to want to resell Old Key West, a 50-year-old resort, as brand new? I don't care how popular
I don't think they can.
I think the first thing they're going to do is offer something to the existing owners and just try to keep the ball rolling.
Because they're used to all the eccentricities, and there's a following, like Joe said, there's sort of a cult following for Old Key West. Yeah,
and there may be some points a larger amount that'll come back, and then they'll sell those. But no, I think they're going to go straight to the owners. Yeah, try to make it worth their while somehow, and get them to just re-up.
And I'll tell you, my contract expires in 2054. I think I'll be 70 something, early 70s. We're right. If they came in to say, hey, and me and Jen are still going strong, hopefully our health is all good, right? I would be like, okay, if we're still enjoying going, how many, 30 years from now?
Doing the roundtable then?
I was just going to say, we'll talk about that on the show when it happens.
It's going to be a video version by then.
We're going to be holographs on everybody's desktop.
Except for every once in a while, Tim will go, eh?
Huh?
Speak up!
What's that, Sonny?
Hey, howdy, hey.
Okay, just real quick, I just pulled it up to take a look, just give you an idea to answer Rebecca. So in January, on Sunday, the last day of the weekend, marathon weekend, we have a 1-bedroom villa, Kilimanjaro Club concierge, the cost of my points off of last year's contract for one night, I paid $249.60 for a 1-bedroom villa club level. So do you think I'm still getting my money's worth? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm
trying to play devil's advocate, but yeah, you are.
I just about covered my dues with one room. So
One
night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because that room would probably be, it'd probably be $1,000 up to $800 to $1,000, I bet.
Yeah, and it's primo time. It's a primo date. So
it's a 1-bedroom villa, and it's club level. It would be ridiculous if it was available. So, yeah, it's definitely worth it value wise.
Yeah.
I think you just got to be more flexible nowadays. Like you have to not expect so much now and be like, this is what my contract is for. This is where I'm staying at.
Couldn't agree more.
And just kind of roll with it and not have as high expectations. Because isn't there something going on, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brad or Rebecca, are they supposed to reallocate points at like the Polynesian or some of these other resorts because the bungalows are kind of like not.
Yeah, I read.
Have you read
that not long ago?
Like they're supposed to like move points around some of the resorts because they're going to make it like the studios are going to be harder to get for certain places, which tells Disney build more studios.
Actually, if you look at the posted, what happened was they posted 2020 points with that adjustment. There was such a massive backlash that they backed it off, but they did make it clear. 2020, 2021, and 21-22, it won't, but it's coming. So they're moving it up a little bit at a time, but within 2 years they're going to make the big jump. So,
all right.
Yep, it's exactly what they're going to do.
I'm not completely losing my mind because I'm like, I've got a lot going on. I'm like, I feel like I read that somewhere.
Yeah, they actually put it out. I got a hold of the point charts and I went, whoa!
Yeah.
And of course, so did everybody else. And so they backtracked that real quick.
They walked it back very quickly.
It'd be nice if they built like a resort with just studios. Like that's what people want. I know they want to charge more like for like the 1-bedroom, the 2 bedrooms, and I get it, and the whole deluxe villa, quote unquote villa thing. But you know what? Not everybody needs a kitchen.
What they want.
I don't need a kitchen.
Build a resort with the deluxe studio and that has a up and down washer dryer.
Yeah, fantastic.
Right.
You could charge more points. How many people will get the 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom just so they can get the washer and dryer?
Exactly.
I know people do that right now.
Yeah,
I do.
Absolutely.
I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of why we're doing this, because we're going to do all of our laundry that day, and just chill out. And then because we leave the next morning on a cruise, Disney cruise. So
that's smart.
Yeah. So just one day I don't have to go out and eat. We'll just hang out in the club level and hang out in the resort all day and relax and do our laundry and So it's going to work out good for us.
Well, speaking of hanging out in a room, Rebecca, did you get an email from somebody about
we are the king and queen of segues.
I love it.
Listen, hey, Tim.
Yo.
Just relax. We got this. The ship here.
I'm on cruise control, my friend.
Brad drives the car. We drive the show.
That's right. But I always drive at the end. You guys drive in the middle and the beginning.
I'll drink to that.
I just hope the airbags are good.
I did. So I had a friend who asked if it is possible to add a cash night at the end of a point stay.
Ooh.
And if so, what are some things that they should make sure they take into consideration when doing so? So I will confess that I don't have an answer to this. She went on to also ask if there was such a thing as DVC sort of membership discounts on cash stays. I had no answer to that, so I thought I'd bring it to the experts, which is not me, by the way.
So I did mention earlier that we've actually done this before. Now, I can't speak to what they do now. I mean, whether they're still doing it. But when we tried to do it, no, you could not. You could not add it on. Now, you could book a separate one-night stay, pay cash, and then ask them to link that reservation to the first reservation, and they will do everything in their power to keep you in the same room so you don't have to move. But there is a possibility that since they're separate reservations, they would need you to move to another room. But even that, we've had to move before on a split where we did 2 reservations, and it's not a huge problem. We just had them.
I wouldn't think it'd be a huge problem. For one night, it seems like a hassle.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, what I suggested to her originally was something that Joe had suggested a while back on the show, where you have that opportunity to borrow point, you can do it like a one-time purchase of
Yes.
points.
Right.
And so I said, if possible, that would be a better option because then you can make one single reservation.
And I would definitely think that if that wasn't the case where she could do that, which I think I would recommend it myself, is if you're staying at a resort like, for example, Saratoga, or Old Key West, some of the ones that have a lot more rooms, link the reservations like Brad said. But then if this is at the end of your stay, be proactive. So what I would do is I would actually go, you want to do the online check-in, fine. I would still make your way to the front desk at the beginning of your stay. Let them know, say, this is my reservation number for my one night that I paid cash. Let them know ahead of time. And then I would give it a few days later, however long your stay is, and be proactive with it and go to the front desk. Don't call. Go to the front desk and be like, listen, because if I'm not mistaken, what is it? What's the person that they call is the who assigns the assigner, room assigner, whatever? They're aren't they on property? Like each resort has their own assigner, I think, right?
I believe that is correct because
so.
I have maxed them directly before.
Yeah, so I would just go and be proactive. Stop into the lobby every couple of days. Be like, hey, just calling to see.
Be friendly. Be nice.
And be nice. And don't expect anything. Don't expect that it's going to happen. But if you stay on top of it, you try to do everything you can, and say, hey, they might be able to work with you. You never know. For an example, myself and Jen, Brittany and Justin, we had like a little a staycation trip. And I went in and we never got the text message for the room. So I went up there and it was like 4:00, whatever. I was like, hey, we're looking for, we haven't gotten our text yet. And they're like, oh, okay, no problem. And they saw, we all walked in together. So, oh, you staying with so-and-so? I said, yeah, it's our friends back there. Gave them the names. It was very nice. And they actually ended up moving our room to be not in the same building, but we were right next to each other, the building next to each other. So it was easy for us to so you know what? It doesn't pay to hurt to go to the front desk and ask and be nice.
Exactly.
If they didn't, it was okay. But you know what though? It's always helpful to be face to face and be face to face because calling anywhere in Disney is like the hardest thing ever. You will not get that front desk unless you're calling from your room. You're gonna call somewhere else, some call center in Orlando.
Central.
Yeah, you're never gonna. You're just better off taking the 10 minutes out of your day and going.
Be face.
And also too is I believe DVC still does a cash rate for DVC membership.
Is that what she was saying? I did not understand.
You have to call member services, and sometimes it's not even a better rate. So yeah, it depends. I know, for example, once I called for a member rate for a cash room, and actually the Florida resident rate was better.
I didn't even know they did that. So
yeah, just got to call member services.
And the other thing that I left her with was if you do the cash night and you do end up having to switch rooms or switch locations or whatever, Bell Services will move your luggage and do that for you so that it's at least not as involved as you might think it is.
Now, I will add this, though, Rebecca, to what you shared with her. It's always a little – most people, even DVC owners, don't understand the limited availability on the one-time use points. You can only buy 24.
Okay, so that's where I ran out of knowledge, so to speak.
They'll let you buy 24 additional points, and they'll charge you $19 per point.
Okay,
so that's $456 for 20.
It's a little stiff.
It might be
so you probably will get a better rate. Good possibility of any kind.
So my assumption is if you make a standalone cash or standalone reservation for that one night, if there are options available for discounts and stuff, you can apply those to that one night.
Yes, you could. Yeah.
Okay.
Depending upon what the discount is, because some discounts require a certain number of days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But it'd still be worth calling. I didn't know that, what Joe shared, but yeah, call DVC and find out. Do you have a one-night cash rate? But
this was 2 years ago, so
$456. So.
Yeah.
Subject to change. This was 2 years ago. I don't know if they changed the rules since then.
I don't know. I guess you'll find out, but
yeah, or maybe she should just buy some more points.
There you go.
So to me, the whole one-time use thing, unless you're just in a bind and you need 5 points to finish your reservation, that does not really make sense to use to try to book another night.
Can you buy them in smaller units then?
Yes, you can buy up to 24.
But you can buy them in any unit.
Yeah, you can buy 2 if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Call member services, brainstorm with them. This is what this is what can you do for me? What can I? It's like you're not asking for anything for free. It's like, listen, what can you do for me to make this as easy to me as possible? Help me help myself.
Yeah, but if you're booking a room and you're like 3 points short, $19 a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
It's not the worst thing.
That's what the system's for. It's one time
that
you
makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
finish your reservation, but to go out and book a room that you're
It's
rate.
maybe not the best use of that. Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it.
Hey,
I love it too.
Tim,
Hey,
can I just
Tim,
add
I didn't know you were on the show.
Oh, hey, welcome back, Tim.
I ran out. I got a
How was your
pizza.
nap?
I was good to go, though.
Thanks to his cat.
We found the cat.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Everybody in Looper Nation just know Tim tried to hide the cat from the family,
Hey.
but they made it clear they want him back. So
Here are the 3 things you need to know. Tim hit the cat. Joe hates Disneyland.
I don't hate Disneyland. Stop. I might prefer one over the other, but you know.
yeah.
Get a bunch of tweets.
I just had a bad experience.
And Rebecca likes to rub salt.
Not being very nice,
Anything she
Rebecca.
can-
Rebecca is the Morton Salt girl.
That would explain the parasol.
Speaking of things
After you,
I
Jim.
don't. Speaking of things I don't like, Tim, can I just add a few things in here real quick?
I don't think I can stop you, but
Bob
please
rant.
go
We got
ahead.
a Bob rant. All right, go.
Real quick, if you're for DVC members out there, the NBA Experience is having a 40% off. Members can save 40% off the regular price of tickets to the NBA Experience. Hashtag the worst use of real estate at Disney Springs.
Yay.
When they start paying me to go,
God.
I'm going to sign up.
Joe, don't forget the
One time.
Moonlight Magic at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, and also 2020 Animal Kingdom Moonlight Magic registration opened today. Actually, no, it opened on November 20th, according to DVC News.com. So it may already be full right now, but because these things fill up super early. But if it hasn't and it works for you, check it out because that's always a great perk for DVC members. But I just kind of laughed at the 40% off for the NBA Experience because I've heard nothing but bad things.
Wait,
Yes.
Are they giving you 40% off, or are they paying you 40% of the ticket price?
All right.
They pay me.
I wonder what the over/under of how long that thing is going to last. I mean, it's been very underwhelming. I heard it's cool, but like it's a very niche, and it's like $30-$40 to get in, so it's not like cheap. You know?
I know of nobody that was excited about that coming. Nobody.
So
No,
I mean,
nobody.
Disney Quest something had to happen with that, but I have
Something
no
should have
about
happened.
going to see it. I'd rather go to Galaxy's Edge, and everybody knows I'm not a Star Wars guy. So
Oh, but wait, speaking of excited about, didn't I see something on the Mickey Dudes Twitter the other day about Homecoming and who's the other chef that's doing they're doing the mashup? Morimoto?
Chef Morimoto.
Oh, right next to each other? Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
are they doing like a combo thing?
Like a progressive meal type thing or something?
Yeah, I
Oh.
saw something on Twitter the other day where they're going to team up and do something, and it looked really great.
That's cool.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Florida
Yeah.
Asian fusion. I love it.
Yes, I will throw something up on Looper Nation Live when I
Please
find
do.
the exact article.
Yes.
And Tim, I didn't mean to be negative with the NBA Experience. I'm just very underwhelmed by it. And I saw this. It's kind of like sad. You know,
It's kind of just sad.
they should just expand Splitsville.
If you, Splitsville is so
It's
fun.
a very cool thing, by the way.
Splitsville's awesome. So,
Yeah.
Everybody can bowl. Not everybody can play basketball. Come on.
that's true.
Come on.
Wouldn't like a giant laser tag be really cool?
You can't play with basketball with a beer in your hand.
That is true.
Just throwing that out there.
Tequila, just, for the record.
That's true. We better wrap this up because this is going down a terrible rabbit hole. All right, everybody, before we wrap it up, Rebecca, where can people find you?
People can find me mostly these days in Looper Nation Live on Facebook and on Twitter at Tequila Becca.
Nice. Mr. Brightcoats, where are you? Where are you hiding?
I'm usually same thing, hanging out Looper Nation Live, and I'm hoping to. I haven't heard back, but the Diz Dads have kind of relaunched, and so we're starting to do some podcasts again, and they're doing some creative stuff where they're doing the dads doing a podcast with their kids
Nice.
about Disney. Yeah, so
Love the
I haven't
Disdads.
heard back from Aaron yet, but I'm hoping I'll be back on the air there doing some things here pretty soon.
Well, tell me your rates have gone up since you were there last. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Joe Cartrochi.
That's probably why I'm not hearing back.
Right,
The
Joe's,
ratings have gone through the roof since I left.
Joe, you won't be at Disneyland, so where
You'll
can people
probably
find you?
find the same thing here, but, I digress.
But we're keeping you because someone needs to drive the car.
Somebody has to drive.
All right. Joe, where are you at?
I'm over here in Virginia, Tim. How you doing?
I thought I saw you over
You
there.
can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Joe Quat. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, Looper Nation. Have a safe and happy holiday. Thank you for joining us tonight, along with Tim
Will
Scott.
not find Joe at Disneyland.
You can find Tim Scott on Facebook, Twitter, the website.
There he is. Attaboy, Tim. Way to close it out.
Everybody, please, hope you enjoyed the DVC Roundtable. If you have any questions, send them to us. But please go out there and share the gateway to the magic. Take it away, guys.
See you, everybody.
See you, buddy.
everybody.
Yeah, it's getting better. Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoop.com.